Welcome to Let's Be Telepathy, everyone. Thank you for holding space, safety, and love in your hearts for this podcast to be what it is, a loving and amazing community who I have to tell you, there's a few of us in the background that have been doing some really, really, really heavy group work. And I have to just thank all of those people who really showed me. And James, thank you for being one of them. And thank you, all of you. But I know he's been a really core person for me this week as we have been holding space for some very heavy energy that we have all decided to make boats with so that we can float it up together and we can bring that energy where it needs to go. And when we all come together and a community and we flow with the right frequencies, just like bees, we're going to get the work done and we're going to make sure that it works for us, that it works for nature, that it works for everyone in this community, because we are all about that unity. We are about coming together, equality, nobody above, nobody below, but sometimes having to put some people a little bit up while some of us sink down a little bit. And that's just equity. And we believe in that equity. We believe in everybody's uniqueness, and everybody has their own value and their own worth, because we're not equal. We're equal in hearts, but when it comes to our soul and our mind and our experiences and our memories and our attributes, we're not equal in those things. But when we come together and we put all of our pieces together, it fits this unity of this flow that brings us into a state of equality, well, also individuality. And so we work with that equity and everybody bringing together their worth, their attributes into this community. And thank you, all of you listening, all of you being here today, for being those people in the world who stay true to yourself and who stay true to the divine, because you know in your heart that we're not separate. We are all one, and what affects us does affect the whole, and that we need to bring ourselves and our attributes forward so that we can shine for the whole. And that's what it's about in this group. And I thank you for all of you. That being said, we are going on to a very important subject, and I'm going to go ahead and let Scott lead. There's been a lot of complaints this week about um, different behaviors, different bodily feelings, different complaints in so many different ways. I mean, think about the list of everything that could go wrong when you're going into 5 planet retrograde and you have a brand new planet into your solar system that is now into your field that hasn't been here before. And then you take into consideration all the things that Scott's going to talk about. Pretty much everything that you can think about: headache, nausea, different pains, different feelings, tiredness, excitedness, like the whole. That's probably what all of you are feeling all at once, because it's a big chaotic ball right now, just with energies and frequencies that are just bouncing all over the place, and it's not making sense. And it's up to us to bring that rhythm out of the chaos. So that being said, Scott, let us know what is going on, please.
So I'll give you the quick 20-second pitch on something we're going to talk about, the Schumann resonance, which I only learned about in this group. I think Carmen may even have been the one that had introduced it to me, but um, and actually, no, there was someone else who then sent me a direct link to it. So anyway, what the Schumann resonance is: picture Earth and picture one layer of the atmosphere that's an electrical layer called the ionosphere. And within those two is a space. Think of it as a giant straw that is kind of like goes around the earth and is connected. And within that space, electrical energy bounces around the whole earth. And that the frequency of that bounce is what's known as the resonant frequency. There is a dominant bounce of electrical energy between the ionosphere and the Earth that is at 7.83 hertz. And there are about seven um, sub frequencies, or altogether seven or so. But those frequencies, all of those frequencies, it turns out our human body is wired electrically to those frequencies. And I don't have the breakdown in front of me, but like the dominant 7.83 is connected to, for instance, the alpha brain waves. Then there's the beta brain waves. Then there's just functions within the body, melatonin, serotonin production, hormone balance, all of that stuff unknowingly to us is tied to those resonant frequencies. Now, ionosphere, Earth, ionosphere changes, first of all, in its distance from the Earth. And here's where this is one of the reasons probably why the autist kids brought me into this group, led me here is I've got a very deep science background. And as a prior ham radio operator, I can tell you about the ionosphere that some of you may remember a term called skip, where you could get radio stations in a city somewhere far away that's not anywhere near you, only because the ionosphere moved after sunset. In Nashville, Tennessee, I would listen to a Chicago station waiting for skip to be at just the right place where I could pick up the Chicago station because of skip. So the ionosphere changes by sunrise, sunset. It's one of the things that affects it. There are a few other natural phenomena that affect it. Um, One of them that we're going to talk about briefly is, while you may not think of cloud seeding, which is done by man on purpose, and by nature occasionally, cloud seeding is where you put a particle of either metal on purpose from an airplane or even dust particles from fires. And that's the big thing in the news right now. Fires everywhere, fires up in Canada, catching the jet stream and blowing all the way through the United States. And each one of those particles creates a place. Think of your cup sweating during the daytime, or not during daytime, but when you have a cold drink and water accumulates on it. Same thing happens with that dust particle that's in the atmosphere. Water clumps up on it. Enough water clumps up, you get an organization called a cloud. Then when you get to cloud, you get differences of energy differences thermally, which then creates wind, which creates, remember when you take that balloon and rub it on your shirt and then touch a doorknob and you get a shock. So starting just from that particle seeding the cloud, you get thunderstorms, and thunderstorms create lightning, or at least static electricity. Now, lightning has something that comes off of the top of it called a sprite. That sprite is electrical energy that is also shot up into the ionosphere. And also, you have electrical energy from either the cloud to the ground, which is then changing the ground electrical potential. Anyway, all of this energy is also changing the ionosphere, which is also changing the Schumann resonance. In addition to that, cleverly and for scientific purposes, and I'm going to be nice and say that they don't understand that the unfortunate side effect of this research is they literally have an antenna. You can look up HAARP, HARP is what it's called. It's in the main first one was in Alaska. There's now dozens around the world. But what it is, think of it as a microwave shined into the ionosphere on purpose to see what happens. They do it to generate auroras, for one thing. But in doing so, they create imbalance in the ionosphere that ripples through all of it, also altering the Schumann resonance. So all of these things combined, thunderstorms, and in addition to that, we just had another earthquake in New York yesterday, last night. So that's three we've had in this area in the past couple of weeks, not counting the giant top 10 earthquake that just hit off of Russia. And then the following day didn't make the news. There was another 7.7 magnitude earthquake in the area, which is probably an aftershock. So now you're changing the ground, which is also changing the Schumann resonance. So all of these natural and man-made occurrences have created very large lately, large amplifications in the Schumann resonance. And I personally believe, now that we know the connection of the Schumann resonance, oh, how do we know it's connected? Astronauts that went out in space and spent time on the other side of the ionosphere came back not well because their human body wasn't subject to the Schumann resonance. So that was another first time that they realized this is more important than you think. In addition to that, Tara can probably comment because we had had this previous discussion about what's called Faraday cages, which is um, blankets and or boxes and or even rooms that can completely block out all electrical energy, can also has a side effect of being harmful because it's once again blocking the natural rhythms that your body needs because, and we'll get into this in a later discussion, we are human antennas, whether we like it or not. That is what we are as an electrical energy spirit. So we are subject to any energy changes, both good or bad. So um, I just want to bring up that it's possible, and I fully believe probable, that a lot of the um, ill feelings, especially with autists who are much more sensitive to to spiritual electrical energy, are likely lightning rods for these changes and could be collectively. And we can. I mean, have you ever noticed those days where it's like everybody's just ready to bite the head off of a nail, or just mass headaches, mass whatever, I believe this is tied to some of these large ripples in the ionosphere, Earth, Schumann resonance changes. So that's my contribution. I wanted to have people to be able to think about, do their own research. Uh, don't take my word for it. Um,
Thank you, Scott. I was getting a lot from that. You're having me check up everything on my phone, and then I had a few people channel through. So yeah, first and foremost, that oh, Tara, go ahead. Or does Owen already tell you that he was one of them channeling through?
Oh, no. I mean, you let him go first if that's going on.
So, I've been working with him on the ocean and dolphins and whatnot. And as you were talking about the earthquake and whatnot, that was one of the things that he was bringing up this morning, that it was an 8.8, which is not a normal earthquake. It's larger in the area that it was. They are saying that this is not a normal earthquake, that there was something that was tampered with to change the frequencies enough to split this or to make that earthquake go the way that it needed to go. So that was something that was very important. And I know Owen was talking about that this morning, and how it's affecting all of the ocean and whatnot.
Mm,
And just when you started talking again, he started going in again to say that the ocean itself has electromagnetic energy, and that electromagnetic energy is pulsating with all of that, the surge of the waves going back and forth and hitting in places that they're not. The waves are changing in ways that they haven't been before, clashing in the middle of the ocean in ways that they haven't clashed before, because it's hitting the land at such at such force that it's bouncing back at that same force, creating this new magnetic energy that we haven't seen before. And he's saying the whales and the dolphins and all the energies and The sounds of the oceans that once kept rhythm to the earth is no longer keeping that rhythm to the earth, because within the movement of the waves is changing the frequencies, and so their sounds are not getting out in the way that it needs to. This is penetrating then the earth, and the earth now is being affected. The insects are being affected, the animals are being affected. All of their energy is just as ours, and he is pointing to ours as a whole. He's not separating himself as autism or non-speaking. He says as a whole, our energy is all being disrupted, and the circadian rhythm, uh sorry, he's going so dang fast. So the circadian rhythm is thrown off because the waves are thrown off, because the sounds are thrown off, because the electromagnetic energy is thrown off, the magnet energy is thrown off, and then you bring into the ions and how that is thrown off. And now we have all of this energy that is reflecting off of each other, hitting each other, and not working in the flow that it needs to. And this is where we are coming in, and this is our importance. And he says our importance again, as in the whole, as in everybody here. And this is why everybody is here, because they understand and they want to be that part of that frequency. A good play on words there, bud. And because he like laughed and showed me this little bee. He says, but this is part of the whole, is that we're bringing in all. We need to be able to hold this space for this chaos and filter it through in ways that we are coming back into ourselves and feeling ourselves and acknowledging ourselves and focusing on who we are and what we are, so that we know where we stand, where our energy is. And when we know where our energy is, then we can start to radiate that out to the world, so that we can start to hold space for the things that are working in he's using the word objection, so I'm just going to stick with it because that's the word he's using. But he says anything that's hitting us with that objection, we will hit them back and we will be able to overtake that frequency. But please remember to take time to have gratitude and to he's just showing like connect, really connect, not just ground, connect, he says, to the earth, and hold safe space for it, and hold a point for it that you say, I am here and I am steady, and please hold your place. When you do it, do not move during that time, because the earth needs us to be steady so it can find its place and we can reharmonize with it again. I love his little smile and how proud he is of himself for saying that. He says, okay, Mom.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. Forget it. And Kelly, who we're going to be seeing, help. Because I really want him to be able to spell, but it's going to be fast. It's going to be like when he can actually spell. I mean, I've seen a lot of kids spell like dun, dun, dun. Like he wants to spell fast. Like even like dun, dun. So wow. Oh gosh.
It's like
So
a planet in retrograde where they go so fast that it almost seems like it's going backwards and slowing down, you know? And that's where I was feeling, is just, okay, we got so much to talk about. Like, what is it? And trying to slow him down to catch his words. So yeah, have fun with that.
I can't wait for you to put the replay so I can listen again. So like I mean, there was like really awesome, and I consider myself sort of a techie, but it's just like boom. Well, I was just gonna. Yeah, I know. Every time we get on, he wants to watch Chumbala. Yeah, we've talked about this before. Anyway, so the Schumann resonance like generators. This is something like, you know, I'm always looking for the solution. I didn't think that I agree with the Faraday cages for multiple reasons. You know, unless you have the Faraday cage like completely surrounding you, you're also likely to like let energy in and then it's just bouncing at you. So that's not good. And then closing it in, you don't get the Schumann resonance. So Chumbala. Yes, Chumbala. We'll do it. Oh, we don't have an internet connection on there. Okay, hold on. We'll get right to you. Okay. So there are a couple of generators. I have the cheapest one, so I can put it in the chat. I can put all of them, like I can put a number of the ones that I've learned about in the chat. But they're just small devices. Some of them are just the Schumann resonance. Mine is the Schumann resonance, like 7.83, like kind of the first one that I saw like a few years ago was like just a small box, and it just had 7.83 blah 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 blah, the numbers that follow. And then after that, I found this one. So this I kind of learned from Owen through the whale research, that the combinations of frequencies are very important, which is another thing that like the Monroe Institute guy learned, that like that he kind of was the, what I understand is like the father of the binaural beats. Like one thing is to put a tone, but another thing is to do the overlapping of certain tones. So I lost my track. This happens sometimes. I just got over like a really bad sickness, so I'm like, oh, I can talk again. Chumbala. All right, maybe we should talk about Chumbala like after this, but I don't want to take up too much time. Anyway, I'll just post those because I don't want to take too much time. And if anyone has any questions, you can reach out to me. If we're not on Facebook, feel free to be my friend. Our friend.
Es la computer.
Okay, all right. I'll hook him up over here on this computer.
I had to look at what Chumbala was, of course, because the ancestors are always around, and all of the energies and the guides are all around when we're here. It's the passing of the dead.
Yeah, now it's become, there are a lot of like little kids songs, but like if you look at the origin of it, it was actually the song used, the children used to dress up as, you know, ghosts, not ghosts, like skeletons or ghosts or whatever, like spirits or
yeah,
whatever their interpretation of that was.
Well, it's the remembrance of the dead. And that's what they would do, is that they dress up in that attire in remembrance of their ancestors, and they paint their faces as though maybe if grandma had died or something, that this is what grandma would look like, and they bring her to life that day, and they allow her to act out, you know, or that's what the whole Day of the Dead there is, that they allow their ancestors to come and celebrate, and they get to hide, because it is said that sometimes when the ancestors come in, your face changes, and so it scares people, and so they just put on the makeup, and if they come in, it hides their face changing and whatnot. So it's them coming in, and I don't know, I think that's pretty interesting. That's cool. All right. There was also a Shelley or a Michelle. She might be named Michelle, but she was definitely going by Shelley. I don't know if it's anyone in this group. I didn't see it, but it was somebody's daughter who definitely will listen or is telepathically listening in. And as you were bringing up the dust particles, it had stated, or she had stated, sorry, lots of energy and lots of information is going through on these fires. It is a way to carry energy from one country to another, one state to another, one town to another. It's a way of remembering our lands, speaking to our lands, knowing what our lands are going through, but it is also a thing that is changing our consciousness. As we breathe in these dust particles, we also breathe in the crystals. We bring in the memory, the emotions, and what is in the experiences that the people are going through. This is an emergency or a warning technique that has been brought into our bodies, so that we know what our land, what our people are going through. And as we are breathing in these smokes, we are breathing in the ancestors. We're breathing in those that have passed and that have become the earth. Funny. And she says we're breathing them and their memories. So know that a lot of things that are going on right now, as you breathe in all of this energy, you're also breathing in the old energy. So this anxiety, this where do I fit in, this new questioning of yourself, this new ways of being, that you have been, and the changed words and the changed actions and the changed things that you have just taken on that you never were before, or things that you have let go, is a lot because of this, and that needs to be taken into consideration also. So whoever Shelley is out there, thank you. We acknowledge you. Moving on to Jane, or does anyone have anything to add about astrology? Or the planets, the retrograde, anything else that they know they want to talk about? No. And Tara, yeah, if you could post that device on even on the Let's Be Telepathy board. I mean, it would probably be good across the boards, autism, telepathy, and doorway to consciousness. I mean, I think it would be good across the board, because that is something that we really need, is to bring that Schumann resonance back. And with that being said, too, know when you guys are grounding, when you are trying to bring yourself down, that you are not you should not be trying to higher your vibrations. We hear a lot in the spiritual community, we got to keep our vibrations high. That is not good. Tara, thank you for again bringing that up. It is lethal for somebody to listen to one tone for more than 1 minute. We have so many people listening to 432, monotone for 6 hours, or this. All you are doing is cutting the ability to reach any other frequency and any other state of being. You are actually going monotone and holding yourself to a place that you don't want to be. That is not elevation. That is comfort. That is the ways of the minds that people trick you because you don't know. And so they just say this is a beautiful thing. I host festivals, and I will tell you, the best musicians will never go to 432. They are anti against it. I worked with Prince. That was my husband's best friend, was his sound guy. And he was so upset that people ever said that about him, because it goes against the rhythms of all of the other instruments, all of the other things. So we need different pulses. Every single person, when you hear the word love, your frequency hits different. Some are good, some are bad. If you want to higher your vibrations per se, do it naturally. Give gratitude to all things around you. If you are trying to ground and you are trying to take a break, you should not be at the higher vibrations. Your body needs to rest. Earth shows us that. Get down to those low vibrations and start listening to harmonies that are between 7 or 12, because that's what's going to help you. But listen to it in different variations and moderations, because even the heart, as a nurse, I know we have 4 different parts that the heart goes into, and our heart beats in different ways. And we have QRS, and we have different wavelengths, and none of them will hit the same unless you are dead. Monotone means death. Don't kill yourself. Listen to the frequencies of the world and the earth. James, I'm moving on to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. That was great. Thank you. Yeah, recently I came across the idea of taking on other people's energy, holding other people's energy. Neither positive nor negative was the context. And so in light of telepathy and seeking to be there and access it more fluidly, and just meditating and clearing my mind, and just trying to be aware and receptive, this has got me thinking. So I'm wondering if you could just speak about this idea of how common that is. And I think we're just talking within our household, partner, spouse, children, maybe pets. Um, and so how common that would be, and what that might feel like if we're just doing a once over, and checking ourselves how we're doing, what kind of markers we might look for that, if that makes sense. And then, of course, how would we go about offloading that?
That's a wonderful question. I know Scott has his hands up on this, so we'll let him speak, and then I'll come back to answer that.
James, yeah, that's it's funny. There's no coincidences. Just last night, my medium team was discussing this very topic of especially the autists that are very sensitive to their, call it their third eye antenna, if you want to call it that, your spiritual antenna, because we're all spirit beings. We're all an antenna, and we're always broadcasting, and we're always receiving the energy fields around us, whether we like it or not. You're a drop in an ocean surrounded by other drops. And so we were just talking about this last night that being aware of, and it's kind of hard when you have a child that can't communicate necessarily well, but being aware of a change in your child because they picked up a negative energy and have, call it, absorbed that energy, or it is influencing them um, externally and near them. And I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me, and then we'll look at it from other perspectives. But this literally happened to me one time. I had a very negative friend come to my doorway, stood there, spewed a whole bunch of negative stuff, which I didn't really understand. But what I didn't know is that this person had a negative spirit attachment. They didn't know that they had this negative spirit attachment to her. And when she left my room, she let that attachment attached to me. And how I eventually noticed it the next day was changes in behavior. All of a sudden, there were things that just like aren't normally me. I was picking up on this spirit's personality, you might want to say. And so I was things like I was just so uh, I found myself just put off and angry at everything. I'm a very pretty much even-keeled person. It takes a lot to get me angry. But by the end of that evening, if I had had a 10 penny nail, I would have bit the head off of it. I was just so like, and I remember before I went to bed looking around like, why am I like this? I mean, like, what happened today other than that conversation with the negative person at the door could possibly put me in this feeling? So then what I said to myself was, normally on everything like that, I'm just going to sleep it off. I'm going to go to bed. I'll wake up in the morning refreshed, a new day. I woke up that morning, and if I had had a cup of coffee, I'd have thrown it against the room and hit the wall with. I woke up angry, and I woke up just like I'm like, this isn't right. And so it took about an hour of being awake for me to do some diagnostics of myself and realize I I must have taken on some other energy, and I started meditating on it. And then I could see, pardon my French, I could see the bastard. I could see the dark energy spirit in the room with me. And I'm like, I'm taking on his negative personality, and I got really mad. So then I can't remember all the steps I did. I'm pretty sure Sage was involved. I did a deep meditation, and I shined the bright light of positivity so bright I finally chased him out of the room and chased him all the way across. I remember saging the entire apartment. I had chased him all the way out the front door. Um, and then all that was over and I was fine. Well, it was about a week later, just proof of the experience that happened. I'm walking to the front door and I look down and I see the bag of the person that visited that day that brought the negative energy. And I'm like, huh. I walk outside and I literally see that negative energy dart in the door to come get me again. And I immediately cut him off, did the whole thing, chased him out again and all that, and never saw him again because at that point I got even stronger about it. But all that is to say, this was external to me. This was a negative spirit that I had nothing to do with that just showed up, and whether I opened up the opportunity or it just saw me as an opportunist to just try and piss me off and have me do something, which is what a lot of nefarious negative energy spirits like to do. They just like to sow discord and things like that. Point being, this circles back around to autistic and other very sensitive people unknowingly, even if they don't. I got lucky and was able to actually see the dark shadow figure standing next to me. Even if you can't see it or they can't see it, because we're all antennas, we're always picking up the energy of things around us. And that's why the grounding process, the centering process within yourself, and a number of other things are an important daily now moment. You should actually always, as often as possible, be in that moment. And it helps, it makes it to where they don't even want to come around and waste their time, because think of it as the robber who looks for the old lady on the street with the bag on her shoulder. That's an easy target versus the Hulk walking down the sidewalk with a wallet bulging out of his pocket. Who's he going to pick? So these negative energies do the same thing. They're opportunists. They look for that. And because our auras show who we are, even though most of us are not sensitive to see that, these energies can see that, and they look for opportunities or holes or weaknesses, sicknesses, whatever. They look for those opportunities. Um, the only thing, and I'm going to let other people chime in on their recommendations. The thing that I would say is to look for the changes. That's how I noticed it in me. Changes in personality, saying even phrases that you would never even normally say, like, where did that come from? Um, thoughts that aren't normally yours, that kind of thing. And again, it becomes hard with a kid who can't communicate well. So maybe you can establish a normal series of checklist of questions to check up on somebody to see how they're doing, to see how they respond to it. I don't know. But um, and then part of it is just feeling out the energy if it really feels foreign. And by the way, pets are involved too. I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people don't realize the misbehavior of their pets actually um, can be because their antenna is picking up the same anxiety from their owners. So that's important. They are antennas and transmitters too. So that's important. So that's my contribution to the conversation. I'm going to mute my mic and let other people chime in with what they may have.
Does anyone else want to speak on that subject? I was going to, I was trying to get a board for you, but then I kind of wrote on the board already and I can't erase it. So, it reminded me of a little video. So we're going to do something we haven't done before and do a little presentation. And I'm going to try to share my screen here. Let's see. Can you guys see my screen? No. How do I do this? Share. Here we go. Can you guys see it now? Okay. So this is a video I had done a while ago of why empaths feel so much. We're all empaths. The whole community is empaths. So we're just gonna watch this. This was a while ago. I hope I explained it enough, but here we go. To the earth.
It's not playing.
Is it playing?
No, no, it
No.
stopped.
I don't know. Says you were sharing. Let's see. Let me try again.
You might need to share your sound as well when you share your screen. There's a little checkbox down on the, I think it's left.
Oh, share sound. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Okay.
But you might have to stop it, get out of it, and start it again with the sound off.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll try it again. There we go. Share that. Okay, so Bob came here. He was pre-coded. Can you guys see me, hear this and see it?
It's not playing.
Okay.
What Bob didn't take into consideration was variation of others, how others
We can hear.
frequencies and coding.
Okay, well, then that's not gonna work.
No, we can hear it. We just couldn't see a video. We can
Okay.
hear it.
Well, anyways, I'm just gonna write over my stuff for you guys then. Okay. So let's say that you guys, here's James. So you can't really see it very well though. Can you see that, James?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, we can see it.
Okay. I wonder, let's see, maybe if I do. Okay, so here's James. Here's Aiden. Here's the dog. Or anyone. And you guys can have one person, two person, however many people you want in this little world of yours. It's there. Okay, every single person, and this is why it's so important to know yourself. And when we get into telepathy, that's the one thing that I'm trying to help people understand is themselves first. Because when you understand yourself, your pulse, then you know who you are, where you stand on certain topics. And if you sway, as Scott said, if there's any change, you're going to know that variation. That variation you're going to question, is this the new me? Or is this somebody else or something else? So let's say that your little mind, you got your mind here, you got your heart here, and then each one of your cells also are working. There is also just below that abdominal, there's another spot. So we actually, people go to all these three or all these chakras, but there's really actually a positive, negative, and a neutral within us. This creates a toroidal response and eventually a universal wave. So all of these are pulsing out, and it creates a whole intricate system that then becomes, as he said, kind of an antenna. And so what happens in this area, this guy gets to be blue too, because you guys can just see it more. What happens in this incident is that this energy starts to pulsate. This is what's called a wave. So when you're thinking of quantum mechanics, this is a wave. Now, if these other two people aren't here, and I'm just gonna, we're redoing the whole thing. Here we go. Here's James. And now James is feeling however James is feeling. His energy between the mind of what he is feeling, between his heart of what his spirit's feeling, and between the belly of what his emotions are feeling, or body is feeling, it's going to create this wave. So this energy starts to pulsate like this. Imagine that there's nothing else back there. His energy is going to pulsate, just like Newton's law says, an object in motion stays in motion unless met by a greater or equal force. So as long as there's nothing, James is going to own the whole room. He is going to put that out there. But once we start having walls, such in a house, once we start having trees outside, or then we start to have even other people, or other things, those things start putting out their waves also. So now we have a bounce back of these waves. Same with if another person came in the room and we have them. So what is happening is that we see this part of interception between all of these different places. They're almost these little X's in this diagram. And all of these spaces are energies that are both of you together. So if you are sending out your waves and you come into contact with anything, and I mean anything, and I'm standing true to it, because sometimes scientists are saying, well, I don't know. Yeah, you just haven't proved it yet. But anything that you come into contact with in any of your senses, this means smell, taste, touch, sight, hearing, emotional feeling, even knowing someone's words, someone's name, there is an intersection there. During that time of intersection, you are neither yourself or that other person, but you are also yourself and that other person. So in this place, this is where telepathy lies, is in these bubbles of intersection. But this is also where lies some of the confusion, because now what happens, and this is what I see energetically, is let's say we have these two people and these two people are talking. Let's say this guy is talking and he has these little green squares, and that's the way that he's talking. And this guy's talking in little blue circles. So when I see people talk, I actually see that they are talking with colors, they are talking with shapes coming out of their mouths. So when their intersection time happens, what I'll see is if it's a good conversation, this person holds this square and this person holds the circle. This becomes a shape, an interlocking shape. Both of them get to carry this shape throughout their wave. So now this becomes both of them. And both of them, because they had this moment together, they had this time, this conversation, it worked well. Both of them get to integrate this new coding into their realities, which levels them up. This is how we get information from other people, wisdom from other people, is because we are receiving their coding and coding that we've made together. So now we have the knowledge and now we got the wisdom. Now let's say that they were talking in the squares and the circles, but it's an argument. Now what I see is a square and a circle will try to collide, and they will try to fight for spaces. And so you'll see multiple squares, multiple circles. They'll change colors, they'll change whatever, because they're trying to adapt to energy. Energy will always adapt. When we're talking about, Scott again said, they fill in the spaces. Absolutely. That's what energy is going to do, is energy is going to find harmony. It will fill in the spaces no matter what. So if you're not filling in those spaces, then the outside influences can fill in those spaces, because something needs to fill that space in. Something needs to help it. And this is where we get mandalas. And this is where I think like the true mandala effect also happens, is it's two colliding energies that can't make sense of what happened. And so we see all of the different effects start to happen. And it's a kaleidoscope because nobody's accepting it. And this is in fights and arguments, or this is in any kind of division. It breaks the coding, and the coding can't actually exist. So what we do as healers is we go in and we actually find, okay, what's going on here? Well, we see that we have a square, we see that we have a circle, and then we have to put them back. And simultaneously put them back and re-enter their wave, rather than keeping them on that particle. So it's not a cutting, it's a quantum teleportation of energetic waves going from the particle back to the wave, is essentially what we're doing. If you're doing it correctly, there's nothing really more to it than that. But that whole point is that anybody that we talk to, anybody that we see, anybody that we come into contact with, we become them. We are them for that little instant, that little moment. We might not see it because we have these bodies, and these bodies seem as though they're individual, we're not individual at all. So the more that we come into contact with people, the more that we are their particles. And that's why we become, we all of a sudden get accents when we hang out with our friends from Russia or something. And we all of a sudden love pie when we didn't like it before. You'll see this a lot in death too, where a lot of people will pass, and when they pass, they will come back through the particles that they have still in their loved ones. And suddenly you want to go to California. You're like, I never wanted to go to California. My best friend wanted to go to California. And now that's her living vicariously through you, is because they're picking up on the particles that are actually theirs that you still have in your body. And so it's living. And going back to the ancestors, that's also how we heal the ancestors, is we let them live through us, and we let them see through us, so that we can then change that chemistry so that it can become something different for them, and their coding goes back to the sacred being that it was meant to be at, and then they're released and they're untangled from the web of life that we tangled them in. Was that good?
Yeah, can I just follow up real quick? Yeah, that was so good. Thank you. There's so much there. Huge side conversation. But is it fair to say that when the conversation that is not going so well creates the space, is that an opportunity for the previously mentioned energy to sort of find its way in? And in that regard, I was wondering, Scott, upon your reflection of your event, if you were able to see, like, oh yeah, maybe that's when it could have happened, when I was, something PO'd me or something like that, and I was more receptive.
Yeah,
Whereas,
remember it all initiated from the negative conversation from the person standing in the doorway. I very much believe the attachment was with her because of the fact a week later it was the very same person whose purse I saw there. And I literally, as a medium, occasionally can see spirits, and I saw it dart past me. It was still with her after I'd chased it away. And yes, it was my anger for what she was saying, which had no basis of anything, but it set me off, created the hole in my aura, so to speak, that became the opening, I believe. So it's why it's the importance of being at peace, centered as often as possible. Anger really serves no purpose that I can think of anyway.
yeah. And Melissa, just real quick, it seems like you touched on with that part about the ancestors, what Shelley said when who you picked up on about literally breathing in the ancestors, and that's kind of cool too, how it all comes.
Um,
So
I
thank
wanted to make a comment on that. My very first set of oracle cards were tree cards because I'm very much attached to trees. And y'all have heard me talk about, I've added more trees to my clan now that I talk to. But I have one literally that I've picked up on recording, on EVP recording, the tree talking, answering back when I talk to it. And so he's become a really good friend of mine. I talk to him every time I drive or walk past, but now I've got another clump. But anyway, trees are exceptionally connected. You got to picture their height, and they've been around for dozens, if not hundreds of years. They have also, like water, I believe trees hold a memory too, and definitely a direct energy connection um, to the center of everything.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Trees are definitely huge. For sure. They're an extension of creator. I always see grandfathers or a lot of ancestors in the trees. I just was told by my guides that, to bring up as something, to go into what James is saying, X's. And so going back to the diagram where we have when we have sacred thoughts and we have good moments, we get to keep it, we then get that sacred signature, right? That imprint. So we get that square and that circle. we go about life, everything is good. But if we have this disagreement and we have anybody that's putting any energy to it, they're exciting it. So you can look at X's a lot. So let's pretend that your square and your circle aren't fitting in together. And so I mean, it's kind of like a kaleidoscope where it's always trying to move and try to fit in and try to make sense. When we have some X's that just can't let go of things and say, hey, you know what, this is just where we're at, or any relationship, and just say, this is where we're at. I wish you the best, and stay in that. The more that people put into that, the more that people are thinking. So let's say that you left, everything's fine, but then your ex is thinking about you and, oh my gosh, I just wish this, I wish this, I wish this, or whatever. That would be what would be per se an entity from somebody else, is that their emotions pile up so much that it starts to build particles on those particles that don't make sense already. So maybe you have one square, and that's where you were talking, but they were talking in circles, right? So now their circle just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and amplified, and it's trying to overtake your square. So really, when it comes down to it, entities, and I'm not saying demons necessarily, but entities are just really unresolved emotions on somebody's side that have not been able to break down, and so they have used it in a way that is destructive against themselves and others, and then they give it a form because they say it's not them. The body doesn't want to take in anger, doesn't want to take in sadness or rage, or unwillingness. It doesn't want to take that. That's not us naturally. So if it's not us naturally, our body's not going to take it in. So going back to the ions and the little particles, they just sit outside of us, and it tries to get in because it wants in, but it doesn't have any place to go. And the more that we build it, we build it, we give it more energy. We give it life because we believe it's real. Going back to Emma stating, we need to take emotions and let them stay in motions, like E equals MC squared, right? Mass and matter and energy, it moves. And so we need to move emotions. If we're not moving emotion, we become stagnant water. We just pile them all up. If that energy is all piled up and it's not you, I'm not normally an angry person, but it's attached to you, or anybody else is attached to you thinking that and wanting that bad energy in, that's what becomes the entity. That's what becomes the thing that we need to sort out. And so it can attach to you and it can build. And the best way to deal with it is to give that energy, pay attention to that discord, pay attention to that, the energy where it's, bring it back so it's but you have to pay attention and you have to find out where it is, and you have to do it in a way that is going to succeed and work for both of you. So you can say, hey, I honor the fact that you felt unloved, and I see that, and I feel that now you felt unloved. So I'm going to take all of the love that I have right now in that one moment that you felt unloved, and I'm going to wish you the most amount of love. That can kind of separate those particles, and it can allow it to evaporate. So your circle can go down, down, down. And then eventually, when you give it enough love, it understands it was loved and it said, that's all I wanted. And now it just fits. And now you can take that square and that circle as a lesson, or else you have to find a way to make sure that you guys are okay, or go through healing or whatever it is, so that you can send their energy back to them and receive your energy back. Because people will hold your energy as hostages. If they're upset, they'll hold your energy as a hostage. The best you can do is give the love so you can't be upset so much. Anyone else?
And it's not necessarily easy.
No. All right. Who's the iPhone 308?
Hi, sorry, that's me, Chrissy.
Chrissy!
Yes, I logged on my phone instead of my computer, so I guess I didn't have my name on there. But anyways, I kind of wanted to talk about what you were just talking about, and you had emailed me about Emma picking up on Mason's energy, so I feel like what you were just talking about kind of goes in line with that.
Yeah, so yesterday I was with my grandbabies and Emma came and she was really worried about Mason and she was kind of trying to do that mouth thing or that nose things that she does with her mom, but she was trying to shut his mouth and she was saying that his brain is not functioning correctly. She's been on this she's I shouldn't say she's been on this thing. She's just talked about it once. But she's kind of shown me at other times how important it is to have your tongue tapping the top of your mouth and how it gets the brain going. And I have to do more research. And if anyone else knows anything about this, please talk. And do you know about this? Okay, awesome. Then I'm going to bring you in. But she wanted his mouth to touch, and she kept saying, like, he can't breathe as much, and his tongue is being too relaxed in the back of his mouth. And so she was afraid of his breath. She was afraid of his brain working, and um she kept trying to get his mouth to shut. And she was saying that that's why he's having so much anxiety too, because he's not able to calm himself by touching the roof of his mouth. So, Anne, if you know about this, please enlighten us because it's been a thing.
That's interesting that you said that. Can I just jump in real quick before to let you know? So he had a dentist appointment recently, and they said he has too much crowding in his mouth. So do you think that that could be part of what she's picking up on? Or is it just that his mouth is just staying open?
I don't know. I know that she was trying to close his mouth to because she said that the way I'm just gonna just say what she said because I already talked to Tammy and asked if I could talk to you about it. The way that he leaves his mouth open is redirecting his airflow and his energy flow in ways that are not suiting for him. He is becoming uncomfortable in his own energy. I'm trying to get his mouth to shut so we can remap the roof of his mouth and get his tongue to tap the top of his mouth so that his brain will be working better because he's starting to choke on his tongue and his tongue is learning how to be relaxed. And she said, if I could just get him to close his mouth, he would learn how to put his tongue forward and lay it up on his mouth. And I just need him to do it. She goes, I've been trying to get him to do it for just 30 seconds.
Oh,
And,
it doesn't necessarily have to do with his teeth. It's more his tongue and his mouth. Okay. Because I was going to ask you, because the dentist recommended having his wisdom teeth taken out, and I just wanted to see like how he felt about that.
well, Emma came in on that one and said that would do him good because I'm worried about his breaths.
Okay, so
And
that
so if
might help.
he has more space, then he'll have more room to breathe. But she says you need a. She she didn't say you need to. She's like, I didn't tell her what to do. Sorry. She says, I suggest you finding a way, even if it's putting something up and lifting his chin once a day and trying to
Okay.
shut his mouth, but he needs his mouth.
Closed.
She keeps trying to close it for him. Yeah. And she
Okay.
did have
Sorry
an episode yesterday.
on this. I just wanted to ask her about that real quick.
What's that?
You were saying Anne Marie had something to say about it. So I was saying she can speak on it if she wants to.
Oh, yes. Let's let her talk.
Oh, hi. Yeah, it's in Qigong, it's known as you close the microcosmic orbit, which is the governing and central, the two meridians that go all the way around, which of course they feed into all the other meridians. So by closing that circuit, by putting the tip of the tongue at the roof of the mouth, it makes the circuit complete. So that's it, and it makes a flow of energy that's up the back and down the front. So yeah. Just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you. That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's important too. Because that's what she was saying is there's something wrong with it. I mean, she tries to get people to nose breathe because she says it's so important. Otherwise, they're wasting their energy. Is what she's told me in the past. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I've had to start taping my mouth when I go to bed at night because I have a habit of like I get a bit of sleep apnea as well, but I have a habit of opening my mouth as soon as I fall asleep, and I've been taping my mouth up, and although it does look hilarious, it really does work because then I'm not waking up in the morning with the really dry mouth and dry tongue, and so yeah, taping your mouth. It's like literally you put a tape across and it keeps your mouth shut so you're breathing through your nose all night and you definitely feel like you have a better night's sleep from it. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I know some of the people that I work with, they say those mouth breathers. Just I don't know what that is, but they say they're changing the flow of the energy as a whole. Is when we breathe through the mouth, we're not, we're letting that energy go out, and I don't know. So I hear that a lot, mouth breathers, and I know it's not me because I don't catch people all the time, but that's now that makes a lot more sense now. Thank you. Thank you so very much for sharing. Adam, coming to you. So before we hit record, oh my gosh, I have about 12 people standing behind Adam, and they were just saying, "Oh, thank God he's on here. We have been waiting for him. He needs to be our voice. He needs to be the one that talks for us, that speaks for us, and we know that it's him. He's been having more ringing in his ears. He has had vision changes. We have tried to do everything. We're changing the temperatures in his body to get all the information. We're even pushing his energy. They're almost trying to push his energy out. And the way they showed me was he feels he's being pushed, but he doesn't know where. So he's really hypersensitive right now, as kind of in this. They said he's on both excitement and survival mode, not knowing which one he actually is experiencing. With his feet in the sand, we are pushing him as fast as we can, but he doesn't know where we're being pushed. And so I just wanted, I said, well, what are you doing here? And Adam, what are you doing here?
Yeah, so I told you that I came to this space via the telepathy tapes. This is all very, very, very new to me. And I've just had a huge, strong feeling in the last week or two, especially, that what I want to dedicate my life to is helping people who are nonverbal with autism, or maybe other conditions as well, to spell. And I don't even know any people who are nonverbal with autism in my life. But I've just felt this overwhelming urge that this is what I need to dedicate myself to. Starting to make sense now, given what you just said.
Give him the whole spiel. You don't have anyone spelling around you.
No, nobody at all. I mean, I just listened to the telepathy tapes off a recommendation from a stranger. And then I'm in the Discord channel as well. I came across you through the interview between Veda Austin and Pam Gregory, where she shared videos. I don't know if you know, but she shared videos of you speaking for different people, and mine's just blown. And even just last night, I was up for about 3 hours in the middle of the night, just with this really strong feeling like I need to make a change, not feeling good. That's probably the survival thing. But exactly where I'm going, I have no idea. I don't know about the how. I don't know anything. And so I've been keeping tabs on your Facebook group. I've watched previous calls and saw that you posted that this was going to be today, and I should be working right now. I'm not. I just knew I had to come and attend and be here. And then when you called me out before the recording started, I was like, what on earth? So to be really honest with you, I'm feeling a bit destabilized because this is all so new. I was the biggest materialist you'd ever come across just a year or two ago. Now my whole life's upside down. I'm ready to accept and believe anything that previously would have been perceived by me to be cuckoo, just completely nuts. And yeah, just ready to be guided. And I'm really sorry that I've not been sensitive enough to directly communicate with all you dozen people around me.
That's okay because you felt the call, you felt the push, you heard them say what they wanted, and you're coming to the calling. So you have been paying attention. In little steps is learning with this community. And really it's not learning, it's remembering. They just want to kind of give you a message if that's okay with you. Uh, and take it for however you want to. But they said, welcome back home, a home where you never felt like you ever left, but a home you've been away from for a very long time. They call you brother sister. And they say, thank you, brother sister, for being here. And they say brother sister because the where you were from consciously, you held space for both masculine and femininity all at once. They say you are the one that understands both sides, that can hold enough masculine to protect and enough femininity to nourish. You have always questioned everything, and that is why you feel, they say feel, you are a materialist, but you never have been. You were the one that questioned it all, sought deeper answers, observed longer, listened more, held back in your times when you wanted to push forward because you knew that it wasn't the right time. You have always believed. You just didn't have people that believed in you. Oh, and when you listened, you heard that they were finally speaking to you, that we were speaking to you, that all was speaking to you. And it just took that moment for you to remember, because home to you is never a place that you can attend. It's always a place that you will be. They are very excited for you to be part of this community. They're going to be entering your dreams, working with you through your dreams. They have already started doing that. They have already started to bend your eyes so you see light differently. So all those little spots and those little rays that you're seeing, totally different. Natalia, Grace Age, they're saying the same for you too. Your eyesights have been, and your visions are changing, and they're really pushing you through. Adam, you're going to be very cosmic. Natalia will be more angelic for sure. But they're saying, welcome home. And that's all you needed, was a home to feel safe where you were. And now that you feel safe, you knew exactly where you had to go, what you needed to do, because you remembered. So go with it, because they really believe in you. And check into yourself, ask yourself where you are, who you are, what you're feeling, what you're going through, and then ask them what they have to tell you. You have a whole community trying to guide you. So thank you for being present. Scott,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that when I joined the call.
Well, you've got more.
Honest.
You got a pencil and paper?
Yeah.
Okay, write down it's the podcast of heaven. And just this week they put out, in fact, this was 2 days ago, just came out, and I believe it's episode number 7, but it's the one with John Paul's mom, Libby Ralston, and Houston's mom, two prominent autists in the community, discussing the perils of having an autistic children in society. But they go into detail discussing, and you early on said that there was no spelling in your community. I would recommend you listen to their discussion of what they went through and the years of fighting the issue of getting spelling in a community to understand. Even it opened my eyes. I knew a little bit about it, but I'm going to say it's either 80 million or 80 billion dollars a year is put into the ADA to essentially fight spelling. That not intentionally, but they establish this is the way it's done. This is what's normal. This is how you will comply. I don't know if you're going to face the same thing in the region you're living, but I just recommend it. You may want to listen to that. It could be helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, I have noticed that. I've seen that somewhere in the last couple of days. So it was already subconsciously maybe on my radar. So thank you for confirming. I need to go and listen to that.
I do know that there's a movie out there too it's called Spelling. And it goes
I
over
watched
a
that,
lot
yeah,
of
a few
different
days ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tara, go ahead.
Yeah. Owen looked over and then I was like, oh, I wonder if he knows his name, just because they're all connected. And he said Angel. And then I said, what? Angel? And then he said Angel. And then I said, okay, because I'm always like trying to make sure I'm getting the message. So I wrote the two words and then he circled Angel. Yeah. Because that's he's at the point where like he'll sometimes like by words he'll answer different things, but if you give him the options, like he'll like he's always spot on. So yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Wow. Thank you, Tara. I'll be really honest, at this moment, I'm a bit like, what do I do? And I hear you. I need to listen back to the message when you uploaded the recording, Melissa, and pay close attention again and just just listen and be open. Like hearing that from Owen, I'm like, okay, Angel, what do I do with that? As I said, I can't emphasize enough how new this all is to me, and how destabilizing it feels, but in a good way, I think.
Just jump right in. That's your confirmation. That is your confirmation.
Do you have any, I don't know if it comes through you, Melissa, or if you yourself have any kind of advice for how I strengthen that connection with them? Because it's clear that they're trying to communicate with me, and in a limited way, I've been receiving their messages. But any advice on how I open that up and strengthen that connectivity between us?
That's the great question that I try to answer on this podcast. Let me tell you. Good point. Okay, so we got to bring up one thing first, because they say one of the things that need to be brought up is telepathy itself. And we need to maybe just talk about the basics of that. When we go into telepathy, everything that we say is of willingness of our mind, of our spirit, of everything that we go into. Sometimes people are afraid because there is remote viewing that people do. There is different ways that people can get into your mind, get into your consciousness, or you yourself are in your mind all the time. I mean, asking questions. So when we're allowing ourselves to always be asking questions, or when we're putting up blockers saying, well, then they're going to find this out, they're going to find this out, they're going to find this out, it starts to shut us down. So one of the things, one of the best ways that I tell people, live like somebody is watching you all the dang time. Live like you have 100 eyes on you. And then that way you're not going to do anything wrong anyway. So when they get in your head, you're not going to have nothing to worry about because you're an open book. So be okay with yourself is one of the first things. Be absolutely fine and okay with yourself. And also know that a lot of the people that are in the community of telepathy, some of them have messed up themselves. Some of them have made mistakes. Some of them, I mean, we've been in contact with serial killers, who just happen to have enlightenment while they're in jail, or something. But when we see each other in telepathy, there's no judgment. There's no you, me doing anything. It's all just divinity. So when you can put yourself into a place where you understand that in the sharing space of telepathy, you are safe, that you have nothing that you are going to be judged, that anything that you say is going to be taken out of context, because everything that you go through in telepathy, you feel it. It's an experience. It's not just hearing words. Some people go through, we were just talking about somebody that had gone through me, that his name was Danny, and he had root beer, and he needed to tell his family he had root beer. And I went around for a while and finally met this client, Rain, and I kept telling her Uncle Danny's here with root beer. She had no idea what it was, and it just kept coming up my nose. So I was experiencing telepathy through that sense, and to the point I said, I can't do this anymore until you call a family member and ask what this thing is, because she had no idea. She called her mom, and Uncle Danny owed a root beer float shop. So that was his thing. So be open to anything outside of yourself. So once you get to know yourself, acknowledge anything outside of yourself that isn't you. So am I smelling things? Am I hearing things? Am I feeling different things? And if so, lean into that a little bit more. Kim, I might call you out here because I'm hearing that you've been checking into telepathy a little bit more and connecting a little bit more and understanding this a little bit more. And so you're kind of getting in that beginning stage. I want to hear your experience, but the kids are calling you out and saying you're talking. One of the things I know is just after you're okay with yourself, surrender to, I am ready to listen. And I'm ready to listen wholeheartedly. I'm ready to listen to the whole, and I am ready to allow my body to be that conduit for the energy that you need me to contain for you. And then when you step into this, you're stepping into divine. You don't need protection. You know, people are thinking, do I need protection? Do I need safety? Do I need that? No, because anytime we're in the divine, that itself is the connection. That itself is the protection. So step in to that divine and then completely surrender. And completely surrender and say, I'm here. And just like if your friend had watched, you know, someone die, you wouldn't go up to them and try to fix them. You would just sit next to them and listen. And that's all anyone in telepathy is waiting for, is somebody to just sit and listen and be there. So I know Tara had something, and then Kim too. Go ahead, Tara. Where'd she go?
Oops.
Okay, sorry about that. Oh, hold on. I'm just gonna roll this for a second. It's supposed to be really quick, but because I don't want to. Hold on. I'm really excited about Kim because I love her very much. And I'm amazed that I don't know how many boxes are here, maybe like 12 of us or something. Like, this is mind blowing. I mean, and we'll go on to the PSI games, and I think things are going to start getting bigger and better and all this, but like, it just makes me want to cry. Like, this is the best thing that could have happened in my life. So that's all. Okay, I'm off.
Melissa, were you talking about me?
Talking about you, the kids, and I know we'll go over to now. The kids are calling you out, and they're like, "Hey, Kim over there has been getting
so
messages."
Much.
Oh, I love you, Tara.
Make me blush. All right, I'm going off.
So it's so funny because someone else just said this to me, that Anthony said, he says that, Mom, you've been changing so much. You're changing so much just in the past few weeks. And he's like, you're right there. So, I mean, I feel like I've been putting in the work in the sense that I'm like opening every channel to be open to it without trying to make it happen, because I know I can't force things. It feels like, so something just happened 2 nights ago, and I'm guessing it was Anthony, but there was 2 things that came in my dream, and I could only remember one of them, and it was to start drawing again. I don't know what that means, but it feels like, so we're starting to see, I don't know if this, Melissa, if this is like part of all of this, but every day now there is texts are crossing, like there's like 4 or 5 people that this keeps happening with, and our texts are crossing, and we haven't talked in days, and all of a sudden we're texting each other immediately. That's been happening. There's been a few more synchronicities. So is that the like awakening portion of it? My ears, I cannot stop my ears from ringing, but I don't know. That's been going on since December. I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad to hear you say that, but maybe I just have to pay more attention. I need to be hit over the head before I realize things.
You're doing it, and they're saying you're doing it at little things. So I was having a discussion with someone last night, and they were talking about awakening and how they wanted to awaken, and we were just talking about a consciousness. And I kind of want to redefine that word only because I'm going into science, and we are working on this on what is consciousness. By definition, is awareness. So when we're trying to become conscious, when we're trying to be spiritual, we need to be aware. And that is the word that we should be going for rather than awake. So start shooting for aware, because the more that we become aware of something, the more we're conscious of it. The more we're conscious of it, the more we can follow that trail. The more we follow the trail, the more we know where it is, the more we are connected to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I miss things all the time. I mean, like we'll be anything. My husband will be like, you didn't see that? No. So it's like, I need repetition. I need really like stark examples of things before I think I'll be like, oh, that's what that is. And then maybe be able to tune in from that point. But thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Okay, we have Natalia, and then we have Carmen, and then we want you guys to finish this off with talking about the Psi games that you all went to. Everyone's really excited about that to hear. So Natalia, how can I help you?
Hi, I'm very excited to be here today. My question is regarding what you were saying to Adam. So you were saying that there's 12 people there that wanted to talk to him. And my question is, if he never even have opportunity to talk to autistic people, non-verbal people, but they are there wanting to talk to him. So the question, I think, would be, I'm trying to put words together. Do I need to physically know those people or have contact with them in order for me to start communicating with them? Does it make sense?
Makes absolute sense. The answer is no. And there is a very wonderful connection that, you know, if you've watched this channel, you know, if you're new, I just go back to her all the time. So 10 years ago, I was sitting at my table, and I had an angel that appeared and had realistically told me how to do crystal readings, and had said, pick 9, this is how you do it, have the person roll it, da 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 da. She had taught me and had been with me for 10 years. She had, after every single reading, she would put her hand on the person, and the person would say spot on. It got so much that if I didn't hear that, I almost was upset. Like I felt like I did something wrong because the person didn't say spot on. And flip forward to this December, there was a gal that was having some really bad problems at home, and they were kind of questioning, do we need to put her on meds, can we handle her, that kind of thing. The mother ended up writing Diana and Kai, and they had given her my number and said, you know, talk to Melissa, she does the crisis and stuff for us. So I got on, started talking to her, and her mom's telling me everything, the girl's sitting in front of me, and everything's okay. And then I said, well, let me connect to her, let me see what she has to say. When I tell you, I mean, I bawled. I started hyperventilating. I couldn't speak. There was snot coming out of my nose and tears out of my eyes, like a 14-year-old girl whose boyfriend just broke up with her, you know, and I couldn't catch my breath. And Corinne, the mom, is just going, are you okay? Are you Melissa, the one that they said works, or do you do crisis for these kids? And I'm going, yeah. And this girl Elsa's sitting here, and she's holding her chest. She is hysterically laughing, like And I'm hysterically crying and going, and I can't breathe. And all I can say is say the word, say the words, say the words. And this is all I can do. I can't say anything else. The mom's going, what am I supposed to say? I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Elsa's laughing. I'm crying. We look like the dramatic, like little masks from theater and whatnot. And Elsa grabs the board and writes spot on. And that was the only 2 words I needed. I had been talking to Elsa for 10 years thinking that she was my angel, and I had known her as nothing else but the angel that comes with me to read these writings. And now I just found out that she was a real person, and the only 2 words that I wanted her to say was spot on, and that is what she wrote. So yes, I will say that there are living people that you can connect with that you might not know who they are. I just did it with Shelly, whoever Shelly is. I don't know who that is, but her mom's going to listen and they're going to get the message and she's going to say, that's my daughter. And I'm going to say, it sure is. But yes, I mean, Micah, talked to Micah forever. He was part of our group. And then all of a sudden his mom came on here and presented him as Mick. And I had I forgot his actual name. I forgot what it was. Mikla. Okay. And she said it and I had to write it down. And then she said, we'll just call him Mick. So we started calling him Mick, and it didn't make sense because when I spoke to him, I knew him, but I didn't know him. And I finally wrote his mom and I said, I don't think that's his name in our spiritual world. And so she wrote and said, well, what's his name? And I said, Micah. And then I had wrote Amelia as mom. And I said something, hey, I spoke to Amelia last night with our group and whatever. And I said, and then Mick or Mikla had said this. And she goes, well, I don't know who that is. She's talking about Micah, but she never mentioned this other guy. And I'm going, well, that's because we all call him Micah. That's not his human name. So we know each other up in the other world as what our spirits look like, as signatures. And then sometimes we can meet them. It's a crazy phenomenon. That still to this day was the craziest spiritual thing. I had to rethink my whole reality after that one, but yeah, absolutely. You can talk to them and they're already connecting to you too. So I know with them calling you angel, they're saying that you're seeing their eyes. You're already connecting. You're just not sure exactly who it is.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
It's amazing. It's fascinating. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. So don't go get your eyes checked at the doctor. It's spiritual. But that's what that changes. All right, Carmen, and then Angie, and then Psi Games.
Yeah, this is a little connected to the Psi Games, but back to Kim and then telling you.
I just say PSI.
Yeah. It's like psychic abilities. It's supposed to be like the psychic Olympics, right? And I guess part of the thing that I've learned here is that maybe don't just go straight for telepathy, right? Like what Kim was saying, like they're telling you to draw, maybe that's remote viewing. But during the Psi Games, they had all these different psi abilities, psychic abilities. PSI is just like a new trendy word to use for psychic. So they had all these different games that they were playing or different psychic abilities that people were talking about the different psychic abilities who were experts in them and all sorts of other things, including UFOs. But I even signed up for like a remote viewing class and I'm here this week taking the class, but it's a lot about perception into like remote viewing is trying to go into that space for whatever that event or that picture or whatever's going on, the picture that they show you, and you try to perceive what's going on. They don't show you the picture, they just give you a number, right? So there could be, I think there's Mind Sight that they're playing with the mask, completely blackout mask, and they teach people how to see and walk around and read and everything with a mask on. So maybe everybody accesses these abilities like from a different angle, but it's all the same thing, but everybody's kind of coming in at different points. And maybe mine was drawing like yours was remote viewing. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Try a different angle than just sitting there trying to think and talk in your head. That wasn't working for me.
That's really a great advice. Yeah, I go through a lot through music is when I do my best working with people is I just listen to music and then they come through the different tones. So I love that advice, Carmen. Thank you for that. That's great. And what you said is exactly right. You know, we should always be looking at from our different perspectives rather than going from how other people see or learning how they are. You know, true teachers are just actually not even teachers. They're just the ones that guide you to your truest teachers. And your truest teacher will always be nature, will always be yourself, will always be creator, but it won't ever be a human.
All I have.
Angie. Hello. You can unmute.
Okay, sorry. I'm in my car. I'm like, how do I do this? I'm like, um, first of all, thanks for having me. I kind of found this group and just like Adam, I kind of listen to telepathy tapes, but I also have a son with autism, so I've been like open to things like this through him and just I guess growing up. But um I live in Queens, New York, and there's like there's a center that's like in Connecticut, and they do facilitated communication, and they do teach it remotely. So I don't know, Adam, if you were um, looking to do that or maybe looking into doing that, but I'd be happy to share with you like that contact information for that center because they do it remotely. So it could be something that could work for you. I don't know where you're at, but I did it because I was like, oh, you know, maybe I want to like look into how to do this because it was a very reasonable price because they're trying to like share the information to help kids. They're not like, oh, I'm trying to charge like all this crazy money. So, and a lot of parents do it, and it's like a Zoom calls and stuff like that. So I'd be happy to share the information if you want to like send me your email address or whatever. And then secondly, I just wanted to ask my son, he's verbal, but you know, he's able to communicate his needs, and he does some like verbal stimulation, but um you know, he's like in the past couple years he's started this like motor tics where he's moving his body around a lot. Mostly it's like from his neck and above, and it's hard for him to like it seems to impact sometimes like his daily life, and it's like definitely seems like something he can't control. So I just wanted to know if anyone had any like insight into like why that's happening, or if it's through the health or something like that. I don't know. um
So immediately when you started talking, there was pressurization within my left ear going down to the tonsils. There's a disconnect in energy that I was feeling, but also an interesting pressurization. It came in through kind of fast and then it left. And I was going to tell you have you ever heard of Barbara O'Neill?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I can probably explain it. But basically, the first thing I heard is I need I need onion juice in my ear. So the one thing that she does is she'll put onions in a microwave and just get them kind of soft, and then she squeezes the juice out. It is hot, so let it cool down to room temperature. Don't put it in the fridge, but put that in there because there's a weird pressurization. It's almost like it's the same feeling as if somebody had tubes and the tube fell out for some reason, like, but I'm just hearing I need onion in my ear, and I don't know if that will help it. I know it's a really weird, we do weird things here though, and they ask for very specific things, and I can't make sense of why they work, but they work.
That's
And
not a hard thing to do though. Like you find onions anywhere, so
yeah,
it's not
yeah, yeah.
that weird actually. It's
Yep.
like an easy thing to do.
Right, right. Yeah, try that. And then
Okay.
if you can, just do that for a few days. There's something in here, some toxin within this region that's in that ear, and that onion's gonna pull it out. But
Okay.
there's something that there's a toxin that is making it hurt. And
It's been there for a long time, huh?
yeah, it's but it will be pulled through the ear. It's very superficial. So let me know if that works, because that would be interesting. I'm always
Okay.
interested.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having these groups. Like I've listened to some of the other recordings and I find them very like helpful.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, ladies, spill it. Y'all went. Tell us about it. The Psi, not the PSI. The Psi Games.
Sarah, you go first. Then Kelly.
The overall vibe was like really good. Like everybody was, I mean, Owen was happy. Like he was happy there. He was also running a lot because I think he was happy, but like with just, it was very overloading, probably because there are so many like people that are higher vibration or higher level, as far as consciousness. He was very energetic. He was very appreciated there, which is nice because at most conferences and meetings and things, he's not so appreciated. But many of them understood. Not everyone knew about telepathy tapes, something as big to us that we thought, we were actually kind of like over there, like, hey, do you know about telepathy and autism? Have you watched this? That we were kind of like, spreading the word. We also spoke about the people in the competition. There was not one that could compete with these kids. Like, I mean, there was one autistic girl there and her mom, and the mom is incredibly gifted, and they just work together, and they are full telepaths. Like, I mean, putting a card and knowing like she had her special blindfold. She's the one that does was it something sight?
Mind sight, yeah.
Mind sight.
Pakwan.
But yeah, like basically like they did the games. The people came, like the remote viewing, like, all right, they had some things, they scored them. They were like kind of, like B scores or something. But then these fantastic people came on, and it was the mom and the daughter, and they just like blew everyone away. So I think our thing is that we have to get all our kids to go, especially the ones that are like spelling fluently and like can show us off. Like I think it'll really raise the level of the whole conference, and that's what we're here for, right? Like just keep raising the level, and it'll get those other people that are like starting to get there. Like it's that whole 100 monkey thing. but But yeah, so they were like, I mean, they had a room for the children, and even Owen, they were cool with him staying in the room. I'm sorry to talk about mommy stuff, but that's where I'm at. Yeah, so on my experience, really good. I think we need to get like a whole crew of us, whoever can make it next year, go. Chip. And the aura thing. So I mean, there were like booths and stuff too of people that do business through different psychic type things or spiritual things or whatever. And this booth with the aura, and Carmen, you could talk about it. She did it. It was $60, and I'm like, I already spent a lot of money to get here, like and all that. But I really want to start looking into that and how precise. Scott might know about this too, but it's auric photography, and I've already been told something, so I wanted to like confirm it about his aura. Anyway, I want to look into that more, but his name is Danny Sheehan, who I'm a big fan of.
That's a lawyer. The lawyer.
It's funny because like I go to a psychic conference and I'm like I mean I love Bledsoe, but I already okay, so I'm sorry I'm taking so much time. I'll go to Carmen. Like I'll just tell these two people. So Chris Bledsoe, who has a book called God, UFO of God, which I did read, and it's amazing. He was basically like retelling the stories, so I mean, it was nice to see him in person, and his family's like the sweetest thing ever. Like they're all amazing. like amazing. Like they're gonna actually, I've sent the link, and Carmen also told them about your call, and they'll probably join. And they're just like the biggest hearted, like so interested in Owen, like helping me keep track of them. They became like our little family when we were there, like did all these things for us. And so they'll probably be joining calls. And then the other thing is, so the Sheehan, who I've been following for a long time, so I also have that, like, technical, like trying to solve the problems with the 3D stuff. He's a lawyer. He did a really good talk about a disclosure organization, and things are like really moving there. And I had been following it, for years, but I think that these groups that are coming together,
Apples.
yeah, I will.
Chips.
I know. Last thing, but I think that these groups are coming together. Well, it's all connected, and also like it's becoming like statewide, organizing these groups. And I'm probably going to organize one in my state, because there's like nobody here, like it's like such a small place, and we don't, like, not able to reach out because our, everything's so far from one another. But yeah, I'm going to start trying to help with that, and he's really supporting that disclosure group. So yeah, so that's all for now. Fireman.
Let Kelly go next. I'll go last. Kelly Smith, she's on the call, isn't she? She was.
I think that was different Kelly. Am I right? I
I
thought that was, and then I messed up because I thought it was Kelly, the one that's going to do speech.
Oh, I don't see Kelly anymore.
James can
see Kelly.
Oh, she must got off.
Well,
she was earlier.
James, if you're still there, probably doing something in the background. But which Kelly was that? Because I thought it was Kelly, the one that
Kelly
Smith.
No, I think it was the Kelly that I only
Interviewed
knew from the she interviewed Melissa
Nick
on a podcast.
Nick.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, she was
I don't-
there. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Kelly Smith was
Good.
the interview.
She popped off. Okay, so so I think it was only the three of us that I know of, and then Dahlia and Lita were the ones that Diane Hennessy Powell had brought to be in the Psi Games. And they just blew everybody away. Like, they got 100% of everything. It was crazy, just like the testing that Diane does with all the kids. But yes, I would love to see Melissa, like you, compete, and all of these kids compete, especially if they have a speller. But even if they don't have a speller, there's an energy game with an energy wheel that you just put your hands by, so they might be able to do that. And the entry fee is $50, and they do assessment, a round of 3 assessments. But I have to tell you, the other people, they were just like me. They weren't that great. They were, I get like 20% now, the remote viewing. So, but if we got more of the kids, I think it would be more exciting. And all the speakers they had were really well-known people, like John B. Alexander, the men at Stare Goats, Danny Sheehan from the UFO community, the Chris Bledsoe, Diane Hennessy Powell, and the list just goes on. The guy that wrote My Big Toe, some more remote viewers. And then out in the booth, they had the Aura booth, yes, and they had these sound bowls, but they were made of crystal, and she put different kinds of crystal and quartz and different kinds. They were so beautiful. Then they had a booth that had, you can get a booth that, you can get an app that does this called Luminate, that shines this, you turn your phone around and your camera blinks a light in your eye. You're supposed to, don't open your eyes, close your eyes. I made that mistake. And you see psychedelic, like kaleidoscope colors. And this one, they had another booth there with a vibrating bed that did the whole thing. They had so many things there. The vendors there had to pay because they were sponsoring the organization. They could sell their stuff. A lot of remote viewing classes. The Monroe Institute was there, a big supporter there. So, yeah, I think you guys can swing it. It's the $50 entry fee, and I think $150 for the actual first tier getting in to the game itself. So And then you could get bigger tiers, like the top tier was you got to see Chris Bledsoe with the orbs. So, and I doubled down on making sure I could see the orbs because I flew here from California to the East Coast. And I really wanted to see the orbs. I hadn't seen them. And then Friday night, we didn't see any orbs. It was so cloudy. The next night, we saw 2 orbs, and I posted a couple of those links. And then tonight, all week in this remote viewing class in Wilmington, North Carolina, we went out last night and saw some orbs too. So I finally get to see my orbs. But I guess my last question is, Melissa, can you ask Owen what he thought of the Psi Games?
In the most joking but loving, non-egotistical but like humorous way. Yeah, I should run that. It was just so simple, like, yeah, I should run that. No, just like, but this confidence and just, if somebody were to say something to you and kind of joke and then walk away, it was kind of that energy. Just, yeah, I should run that.
Yeah.
Just walk away. I mean, yeah, why not? Why we can design, and I'm sure, we can ask Dr. Powell too. She's really, yeah, she's doing some awesome stuff right now. And she probably would be able to help us with all of that. To be honest, I can definitely reach out to her and ask her. We're kind of working on another thing right now. But I will. Why not? Why not?
It'd bring a lot more excitement, I think, to that game because when she got 100%, they had colored pegs. You can see it on the videos. I'll post it again. But they had colored pegs like yellow, green, blue, right? And they had washers of the same color. She got 100%. Everybody, and within like 10 seconds. And everybody else took like 3 minutes and only got 20%. So, yeah. And you can the other thing is like Mind Sight. You could go take the class for the Mind Sight for the week. I think it's better in person. I think it's hard to do remotely and get that, but you might be able to tap in because I think that's how her mother tapped into her with telepathy. Like that's how she was. What I don't know if mine can do telepathy, but that's how I think they both kind of connect is because she does Mind Sight now, so she's getting closer to the telepathy.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out. What's up, Kim?
I joined this meeting late, so I don't know if you already covered this. And I don't mean to switch topics, but I'm listening to Anthony. He's struggling again. Did you talk anything about Lionsgate and if this is going to affect our kids?
We did not talk about Lionsgate. We talked about all of the earthly things, the orbs, the planets, and that. Go ahead and talk about it, and let's get into it.
No, I'm just asking if so he's just been struggling a lot for the past 2 days. I mean, a lot. Last night he's been up since 2. The night before he was up for like 6 hours from 1 o'clock or 5 hours. And he had been, sleep disruptions are pretty normal, but he had been on such a good stretch. And I didn't know if this was something that was, is that, impacting them somehow energetically? I just didn't know what to expect.
I'm not hearing him say that it will impact him in any negative way. Well, you guys ask questions, I'm going to answer them. But he says that he said dad's energy has really been affecting me lately, very over emotional and no outlet, and so I have to be the outlet, and that has been causing me some disruption because I don't know how to handle what is going through his head.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. That makes sense. Wish it was Lionsgate.
We did talk about the Schumann resonance too, though, being all screwed up from earthquakes and all that. That could be a contributor.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have I think we're Pluto, Neptune, Mercury. Oh, I forgot the other two. I know that we are in 5 retrogrades until August 15th, and then we'll start coming out of them. And then we're going to stay a few planets retrogrades through mid September. We have planetary retrograde. They also found a new planet that's been now entered into our orbiting system, and that's that energy has not been taken into consideration before. We also have a big inner section with Pisces and Aquarius that has never been seen ever before. So we have the, I know, and the flow going against these dualities and forcing to choose sides. That's really huge. I've heard on the telepathic line, and I haven't researched, so I haven't said it, but just what I'm hearing now is they're saying don't forget the Starlink and what's going on with that. But I haven't researched yet, so I'm not really sure. They're just saying that there's energy with the Starlink that is messing up some of the signals. Specifically, they said that it's messing up the satellite dishes, and so it has been interfering with TV and internets and everything. They said that's why you see the lines. That's why you have the lags. That's why you're getting pushed on and off. Whatever's they. I'm saying they, and then they all talk. So I'm like, can one person just speak? But it seems like the community is just saying, they said, if it's affecting our TVs, our Wi-Fi's, and our cell phone, imagine how it's affecting our bodies. So there's something really going on there. And then we did talk about the earthquake. We got all the different fires. That we had that hit all the way from Russia, take down and bring tidal waves to Hawaii. So we have the whole earth is being magnetically, energetically, and even gravitationally changed right now. And the way that they kind of explained it is, if you have water and it's just all being moved right now, where's the stability in that? And so everyone's going really through it right now too. Yeah, in the beginning of the video, I think the first 15 minutes or so will explain a lot of what's going on too. But otherwise, yeah. Anything pertinent that anyone has to say? Otherwise, we've gone a little over. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
So I can't leave the call without asking Owen if he's all right to receive the question. What did you mean by angel, Owen? Is he hearing me?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Angels are what we call messengers of God and messengers for the whole.
And so he's saying that's what's been trying to communicate with me.
He's even calling you that.
You are a messenger.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And whether that's, the heavenly thing that you think or whatever, that's just the way that they're seeing you. Natalia too. There's
Oh my
something
God.
with her. They're really pointing to her to say her too. She's that angel. But yeah. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Owen. It means a lot.
I have a question then for both of us, for me and for Adam. What should we do, or what we should work on at the present moment for, I don't know, for next few weeks, for example? Is there any homeworks for us or anything that would be helpful to start doing whatever we need to do or being closer to that?
You answered your own question without even knowing you answer your question. Be present and be observing of everything aware or around you, and be aware. And that is the steps that you take. And once you start being present, being aware, and observing, you will start to see it all.
I just got deja vu, Melissa. As soon as you started saying that, I just had a big sense of deja vu.
I know Tara had something, and then we'll go over to Scott.
Yes. Well, actually, it was for Natalia. It wasn't about this, but it was about I had shared the resonator that I have, but I was telling her that it's, I had to go on a wait list, and it was really cool because I put myself on this wait list, and I know this is the one I wanted because I knew about another one, but it only did the 7.83 hertz, and I wanted the one that had all these different blendings of just gamma and alpha and this and blah 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 and all these options on it. And so I was waiting for it, and then I had a dream about that device just being in a room, and I was just watching this device, and I had never dreamt about it or anything, and I was on the wait list for I don't know, months, and so sorry guys, but you'll have to get on a wait list for this one. But yeah, I just saw it in the dream, and then I woke up, and then I was like, oh, that's weird, I wonder why I dreamt about that, and then it just popped up that it was available, and I was like, I had a premonition. And then I was like, oh, this is really the right one for me. I don't know, I'm gonna put a list of others, but yeah, I just wanted to tell that story. I thought that was cool.
Thank you, Melissa.
Oh, and then one other thing is what I feel with it. So I do feel that it affects my dreams in a positive way. You have to be close to it, so the best thing for me is to have it when I'm sleeping, and I usually put it on number 10. So those waves go with good sleep and dreams and all this stuff, and I do really find it helps. And I actually have left it in the car over the after we got from the trip, and I forgot, and I've been having some kind of scary dreams, so I'm like, I gotta go get that thing. I've just been so sick, I haven't been able to go to the car, but now I'm much better. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so Adam, Natalia, um, I always say this to people. It's the kids' fault that I'm here. They drugged me into this, and I came in just like I hear you all saying, what am I supposed to do? And the answer to that, because I'm not an autist, although I do suspect we all have we're all on a spectrum somewhere. But what I came to realize, as Melissa's saying about just being aware, be yourself, because each one of you, and none of us have the answer. You have the answer. We're all one big puzzle picture, and you are a little piece that drops right in, and you're going to provide something somewhere, some perspective, some message, because you're a messenger, that somebody's going to need to hear, and it will help them and help everybody grow. And that's what we're all supposed to be doing. So, we don't have the answer. You have the answer of why you're here, and we don't have it. So,
thank you.
Sorry, I was replying here. Anne Marie, is your question by chance quick? I know you said you have one more question.
It might be quick.
Okay.
It's kind of a personal thing. I mean, it's not that I don't mind sharing it, but just had a few things going on in the past couple of weeks. I'm trying to finish a course that I've been working on for a couple of years called the Soul Empowerment Method. And I'm literally finishing the last piece, and I cannot get it finished. And I've worked on all the resistance in myself. I've been a therapist for years, so I've been doing that stuff a long time. And I cannot seem to. Also, I have narcolepsy, so I fall asleep. I have no control over it. And that has been so much worse the past 2 weeks. And the minute I sit down in front of the laptop to try and finish writing this course, it's because it's a very spiritual course, and I kind of feel like it's really needed out there. In fact, I feel like I can adapt it a little bit, and it'll be really useful for the parents of the autists as well, because at the moment it's designed for helping sensitives and empaths who have been receiving narcissistic abuse. So it's very specifically for that. But I can do a few tweaks, and I think it would really actually help the parents of the autists to help them connect with their kids more. So I'm kind of like, but I just cannot finish it. And I don't get it because it's here. I know exactly what I want to put there. It's not like I'm having to create any of it. It's just I just can't do it. And I've been being knocked out and pulled out of consciousness so badly the past 2 weeks, like more than the narcolepsy. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether there's something external trying to stop me or whether it's something going on within me. So I just wondered if there was anything you could pick up on that.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Message me on Facebook, Melissa Jolly Graves, or let's be telepathy all one at gmail.com, and let's get together.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few things in that one. There's a lot that needs to be said that is going to help, and so you have, some energy is not maybe wanting it to come out, but there is also some more information that needs to be added, so they're also holding you back so you can add some information. So it's kind of both sides going on right now. The narcolepsy thing, I have a friend that has also he has a severe narcolepsy, and he's had to quit his job because it's been too bad. So there's something going on with that also. And I'd be curious to see how many other people are having that issues. But yeah, I would love to talk. I do need to get going just for another appointment. But
Okay, what was your email address again? Sorry.
Let's be telepathy. And it's just one word. And I did put it in this message here for you too, but it's just the name of the podcast, Let's Be Telepathy, with two, like buzzing bee, and then telepathy@gmail.com.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, you all. Thank you so very much for being here. Hi, Sky. And thanks for being here, everyone, and for your questions, for your time, for your energy. Everyone, stay safe, stay blessed, and love you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.